Right guys, so here we are, 24 hours later. Literally I've just come in, put some paper down and, well, got myself some hot, well, warm soapy water. Because what we're going to do is we're going to look at this now. All the parts that were soaking in the screen wash. Just get that lid off there. Pop my gloves on, of course. Now I do recommend ordinarily I wear a mask for this, but I want to be talking, so I'll risk it this time. But anyway, you've got your stuff in your solution here. Now, there we go. Now I don't know if you can see, a lot of the paint has just come away from the edge. You get the odd fleck there, which should just rub off now. Yeah, it's coming away, look. See that? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this much in the same manner as stripping a model, like in Dettol or whatever. Toothbrush, just going to gently go around the edges, getting all the nooks and crannies. I'm going to use a variety of the brushes, you know, to achieve this. And I'm going to do this with all the parts concerned, and then when I'm done with it, I'm going to place them into my tub of warm soapy water. And all that is warm water with literally 1 drop of washing up liquid in. So I'm going to crack on with that now. Right, just want to show you on the needle here. I don't know if you can see that, but the end of the needle here, it's got some paint kind of stuck to it. The rest of the paint that was down here is just peeled off. It's just gone. It's a lovely and clean needle. Just wanted to show you what I'm gently doing is I'm just gently rubbing it over with the toothbrush. Be very careful, because what you don't want to do is bend the edge or the end of the needle. Something I've done before in the past years ago, so I don't want you guys falling foul of that. What you can also do is you can run the needle through your fingertips, literally, and just use your nail through the glove, and it pulls the more stubborn paint off, like so. And there we are, one nice clean needle. You can feel it as the needle goes between your thumb and forefinger. If there is any paint at all whatsoever left on it, you'll feel it there. Just be very careful with it. And that's what I'm going to do with all these bits and pieces. You know, just using brushes and whatever else I can use to get the remaining flecks off, and that is literally it. And what I'm going to do, what I'll show you later, is when we assemble it, I'll put a bit of a lubrication gel around the threads and things, just to make it nice. And that's all I'm doing here. So I will come back to you when this stage is all done. So see you in a sec. Right, okay, so that's done, that's been transferred, all the bits have been transferred to here. The warm soapy water, if you can see that there, they're all nice and clean. And what I would like to show you, if it's at all possible, is, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but there's flecks of paint, all these bits of paint in the bottom of the tray here. You just probably can see them. That's come off of the airbrush parts. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pop that away to one side momentarily. Don't be needing that at the moment. So these are the bits here now in the warm soapy water. And all we're doing here at this stage is, and I don't need gloves for this bit, it's just to make sure every last final fleck of paint that you can see is off. And I like to do it, you know, on the outside as well as the inside. You wouldn't believe some of the airbrushes I've seen the states they're in. But yeah, just making sure that down here all is well. So we're just cleaning out every last bit of the airbrush. As well as we can. And then once that's done, I shall lay the parts out to dry, because I want them really, really dry before we reassemble it. So that's what I'm going to do now. So I'm just going to go through each part, like there and this nut here, and how nice and clean it is now. That was actually covered with paint. I'm surprised my Badger was working as well as it was. But yeah, so just going to go through it. I like the needle, just double checking the needle, making sure it's all a-okay. And then we'll dry the parts off. Right, come back in a sec when that's done. Okay guys, I've got all my bits out drying now. So these bits here are the ones that were soaked, the ones that had all the paint on, so I'm going to wait till they are absolutely dry. Now I'm going to turn my attention to these other bits, the oiled bits and the lubrication other bits. So I'm going to take a Q-tip here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just rub it around inside of here where I soaked the rubber seal, just like so. Once that's done, just twist up like I do when I clean out my airbrush cup. Just run it around the thread and then blow through it, and there we are, all done. So I'm going to place my parts that have been lubricated onto here. I'll just let them dry out naturally, because they've had the oil around all their threads and everything else. So here's my adapter, oiled spring. Now you notice my adapter's got some paint around the edges, but sometimes the oil acts in a way such as to remove that, help me remove it. Yes, and it's doing so there. You can see it's an exterior thing, so I'm not overly concerned with that, but it is clean now, so I'm okay with that. So all I got to do now is wait for all the parts to thoroughly dry, and one last thing is to look for the rubber seals. Now I've got one that matches this one in the bag, the rear one. And there is one in here which, having gone to all this trouble, I'm going to use to replace that one. Now the reason being is because they're not very dear if you buy the generic ones, and you may as well get yourself a new one. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to work out how to open this bag, get the new one out, pop it in this bag, and then I'll come back to you once everything's dry. I'll have it laid out and we'll assemble it piece by piece. Okay guys, here you can see all the parts now. It's all dried and laid out, that's the word. Now lay it out as it goes together. Well, literally, it makes it easier for you to put it together again. The hardest part for me when I was learning about airbrushes was just this bit with the trigger mechanism and the spring. That takes a little bit of getting used to, and it can be tricky to get the trigger back into where it goes. One thing I will suggest as you're going there is just take your sewing machine oil, just dab a bit on your fingers and just rub it around any threads you come across that you may need screwing up, and this all helps. And this is why I've got a piece of spare paper towel. So what I'm going to do, I'm only going to screw them up gently here, there, like so. This is my adapter, which I need for the UK fittings. That's the one. I can put my quick release valve until I find myself an appropriate quick release valve. This will suffice. So there we go. I'm screwing that one up. So that's the first thing I'm doing. So that's the bit that connects to the hose. Okay. Right, now I'm going to concentrate on this area here. Now I have put the oil on around the thread, which is what I'm doing there now. The first thing to put on a badger at least, is this little cone. So place that over there, then pop the first cap on over the top, if you can. This is tricky to do whilst being aware that I've got to be on camera. There we go. So pop that on. Oops, nope, it's not having it. There we go. There, so just screw that on like so. I'm not going to do it too tightly, just enough. Oh, and by the way, I've put the new seals on front. That's the new black seal there. And I found a red one, which was the appropriate size for the rear. So we'll come back to that. Right, next, pop the second cap on over the top. This goes over the cone again. No seal there. Like so. Right, that's going nowhere, and that's all nice. Now, let's work out this trigger mechanism here. Now I've lubed all these up, but I'll do it again. Okay. Now this, although you're thinking, how does this go together? It does actually only go together one way. Remember, this got this straight edge there. There's a straight edge there. There's only one way it goes in this way. When you find the right way, there you go. But at the moment, it's got nothing to push against, like the spring. The spring goes on the back, like so. Then you need the nut there, which goes over the top here and screws in like so. Just screw that in, then you'll find that it goes back and forward like that. Okay, don't tip it up that way because it will fall out. Let's just come around here a bit. Okay, so that's there. Now this saddle goes in with the curved bit towards the back of the gun. So, and the sort of T section comes to the top. So just place that in there as best you can. Then the trigger goes literally straight down the middle. I've already oiled that to pop that over the edge. Now, bit of oil between your thumb and forefinger. Just oil up your needle. Okay. Start screwing this in. Here, just a bit there. Then place your needle in. It's going to go through the saddle and the trigger out to the other side. You see that? There. You may or may not see that. But the needle is sticking out there. Okay. So you want that sort of action there. Let me just pull that needle out. So trigger, saddle, okay. And if you, I don't know if you can see, but in the middle there is the top of the valve, like the release. So you, like I say, saddle goes in, then the trigger, make sure it's on, the valve, the needle has to go, make sure it goes through the center. Difficult to do on camera. Okay, so right, if you push the needle in just enough, you'll see the tip of it. All right, now just ease it through the trigger. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. So that's how it goes. Now push it in so that the trigger's forward, then gently pull it out again. Now the oil will be lubricating all the center. Right, now pop the chuck nut onto the end here. Just hold the trigger back slightly so that the thread doesn't move. Right, more oil, loads of oil, you'll notice. Get oily hands doing this. It's difficult to do, and be aware that I'm on camera. Right, now you should be able to just push the needle through, screw up, oops, screw the chuck nut on. Aha. There we go. Alright, there we go. There we go. Put it in. You got to make sure the assembly is in. There. And this is where you ascertain so you can pull the needle back, yeah, so just screw it right up. It's definitely in the right place. There. See that took a bit of getting to where I wanted to go, and obviously it needs fine tuning yet. Once you get to that stage where the trigger does not flop about, like say this airbrush, that's incorrect. That's how you want it. Right, once you've got to that stage, just pop on the rear guard, screw that one up. Again, I've already lubricated it. Got your seal on there, your seal on there. It's good to go. So I'm just going to connect it to an airbrush, to the compressor rather. And there you are. It's blowing air. And we'll do a bit of a test. Put some Windex in. Fine tuning of it. And when I depress the trigger, it should be just air coming out. Yeah, you can't see anything. And when I pull the trigger back, the Windex should come out. See that? And you can see it on the paper towel there. So that is how I maintain my airbrushes. There, all clean, brand spanking clean again, ready to go and airbrush whatever I want to airbrush. There we go, guys, and I use that same method for all my airbrushes. So thank you very much for watching. Sorry it was a bit fiddly putting it back together again. I was aware of trying to be on camera because I didn't have the monitor in front of me, so and it made it a little more difficult, but you get the general idea. You'll get used to the feel of how your airbrush goes together. They're all slightly different, but generally they've got the same kind of basic elements. So thanks very much for watching. Remember, all brushes, including airbrushes, lead to war, and I'll see you guys on the next video. So bye bye for now, folks. Bye bye.